a big bang. The Prius was trying to pull out of the parking lot, and he was trying to turn left at the intersection, and then the black car came down the road going pretty fast and just completely T-boned it.
When you're driving, you have to wait for your turn, even though it's 4 ways.
Yeah, that was gut-wrenching, you know?
It was really disturbing, honestly, because we saw him get dragged out of the vehicle, and he had blood on him. They were unresponsive, and they had him on the ground doing CPR, and then probably a minute or two later, the paramedics arrived and declared him dead. The people in the other vehicle didn't seem like they were hurt as bad. They were taken away on a stretcher.
An intersection like this is something that they should really fix, and they haven't fixed it yet. It's just really dangerous.
I feel like they should maybe put a light in there, or maybe reconstruct the way the intersection is. I don't know. There's just been a lot of incidents like this before.
There's something wrong with an intersection at that point.
So sad.
Wayzata dressed itself in blue, both color and mood.
Everywhere you go, people are talking about it.
Why? What sense is there?
Blue for the young officer, his wife, and 7-year-old son.
No dad. Where's Daddy?
Won't play catch with them or, take them to ball games.
And when we lose one, we all mourn.
Blue, the backdrop for the hurt.
This is St. Bart's School.
Now bringing Wayzata
Thank you.
together.
Every single one of these cars is filled with people who puts their life on the line to keep us safe.
Lindsay Cook and daughter Addie.
That's why so many people are sad, because we respect them so much.
Streetside.
Thank you.
With the entire student body at St. Bart's Catholic School.
Are you about to cry?
Yeah.
The same students who put down pencils last Friday when they heard sirens.
We just knew all we could do right then and there was pray.
Now helping to write Officer Matthews' ending.
From Wilmer, from Zumbrota, they're coming from all over. There's no words.
Maybe do a sign of a cross as he goes by to bless him.
Officer Matthews was close friends with none of the people from whom you've heard in this story. Yet he was somehow all of theirs.
It is so sad.
Now, back to their classrooms and jobs. Blue. And forever touched.
We'll pray for him tonight. We'll pray for Wayzata.
It is possible in the autumn of one's life to still have spring in one step.
How old am I? 95.
But it also hasn't hurt Harvey Jerf to have an entire neighborhood in his court.
People saw me stopping and catching my breath. They figured that Harvey maybe needs a place to rest.
Accounts vary on the first planting.
Feel good.
But Harvey's chairs have been sprouting up
Very nice.
ever since.
Down towards a corner, and then up at the hill.
This is one of my newer stops.
Here are all these neighbors who feel almost honored that he wants to sit in front of their house.
Sit for a minute or two.
Okay, on our way.
Then Harvey's 95-year-old lungs.
Beautiful, beautiful morning.
All set
Yep.
for the next few hundred feet of his twice-a-day walk.
It's kind of a status symbol in the neighborhood to have a chair out for Harvey.
So we put one out, and he found it the very next day.
A symbol, really, of more than just status.
I was in anti-aircraft artillery in World War II. England, France, Belgium, Germany. I heard it's like 1,000 every day of World War II veterans are dying.
Harvey's felt the pain of aging too, alone now since June, as his wife of 69 years recuperates in a nursing home from a stroke. Yet, not alone.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
He goes all year long, yeah. That's why I have to have the chair out in the winter, too.
Harvey's chair.
So I'll just peek out the window. Harvey's in the chair.
Popping up here and there.
maybe other neighbors will be encouraged to do things like my neighbors have done for me, maybe.
Like spring flowers, if they too graced us all year.
It's forever going to be Harvey's chair.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Plymouth. Get a splinter in your pinky toe while walking to your root canal, and you could still be having a better time.
That is taxable.
Than tax time.
Yep. Dreaded, but you kind of have to.
Morning.
Unless you happen to be Andrew Benjamin.
I love taxes. I live for taxes.
That smile of his?
He's
Trust us.
one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
You're going to be seeing a lot of it.
Hi, Andy. How are you today?
Just one of the traits that's made Andrew a legend among the 500 volunteer tax preparers at Prepare and Prosper.
There you go.
One of a kind, man, I'm telling you.
2 shifts a day.
Renter's name.
35 years.
What's your income, sir?
50,000 tax returns.
The man's a tax maniac.
Yeah, right.
Andrew would do taxes 24 hours a day.
I wouldn't mind, no.
7 days a week, I think, if we would let him. Yeah.
Me as a young boy.
If Andrew's smiling, he's thinking about numbers.
I took all the math classes I could take when I was in high school. What is this income for?
Now 82, his retirement from a finance career.
Right.
Just meant more time.
I'm so unorganized.
For fun.
It's taxes. It's taxes.
Which is why Audrey Benjamin
Yep.
surrenders her dining room table after Christmas to be stacked with the taxes her husband does free at a community center on his day off from his full-time volunteer job at Prepare and Prosper.
Ever meet anybody like that before?
A guy who finally agreed to at least spend summers 4 hours away at his cabin. Kind of.
He comes back once a week and does taxes, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that time 2 years ago,
Pardon me?
Andrew had lung cancer?
No, I never stopped. Except when the 19 days was in the hospital.
The cancer, he survived. But those 19 days without taxes nearly killed him.
Yeah, right.
If you're wondering where on earth a man finds such drive, you might have to look a little higher.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
That tax time and Easter
Forever!
arrived together may be coincidental for some,
Hallelujah!
but not Andrew.
It's part of what Jesus told us to do, is to help others who are less fortunate than we are.
See those cutout piggy banks on the Prepare and Prosper walls? That's what qualifies as extravagance for the people receiving the refunds Andrew and the other volunteers help get them.
I did a return for a single mom. She made $25,000. And yet this woman bought a house.
The purity of his love for taxes and for math and for volunteering and being of service. You don't come across that in everybody every day.
Is that a corporation then?
The man in love with numbers has dedicated his life to not treating people like one.
Thank you very
much,
thank you, sir.
Andy, and you
Pleasure
have a
to do
great
business
day.
with you. You too. God bless.
All right, you take care.
Boyd Hooper.
You too.
KARE 11 News, St. Paul.
I was glad to meet you,
Well,
Andy.
I'm glad to meet you too.
A 1938 tractor is a daunting restoration. For a 1937 great-grandpa.
Oh, it was pretty tough.
But then Dick Colleen's year-and-a-half-long project is driven by love.
He was born loving tractors. It was just in his blood.
He was Dick's tractor-smitten great-grandson, Tim, who also adored the great-grandpa who stepped up to help Tim's young and, at the time, single mom, Amy.
His great-grandfather was his world.
Before she got married, he asked me one day if he could call me Dad. He said all the rest of the kids had a dad, but he didn't, so.
That bond only tightened when Dick and Tim lost Iva, wife and great-grandma.
When she passed, They were just looking for a hobby. It wasn't probably within a few months, it seemed, tractors started coming home.
The little A, I think, was the first one we bought.
Tim and his great-grandpa restored one tractor, then another, and another, and another.
Oh, yeah.
Dick loved their time together.
Oh, he loved it more, I think.
A measure of that love, Tim posed for his senior portraits with the John Deere B he'd restored with his great-grandpa.
Yeah.
No one imagining 3 years later, Dick's grandson Tim would take his own life.
I think that's the hardest part, is you don't get no answers from anything.
No explanation that makes a bit of sense to a great-grandpa. Or
We lost him.
a mom.
I look back and I see signs of sadness, and I see signs of maybe where he's just not feeling like he's good enough. And I wished I would have asked more questions and just hugged him more and told him I loved him more than I did. And I told him that all the time, but I wished I would have told him more.
Amy worried the grief might be too much for her 80-year-old grandpa.
It's still hard.
But Dick leaned on what he knew.
Well, I'm trying to get it to go together.
The Ellis-Chalmers B, now filling a stall in Dick's garage, was a roadside junker Tim had eyed for restoration before he died.
So bought it, and here we are.
Here, after 18 months of Dick's tedious work.
Restore that one last tractor, do that one last thing.
Here,
Yeah.
but not for long.
Is it a tractor?
This would be a first for us, absolutely a first.
Sean Haynes' 15-year-old daughter Alyssa took her life too. After which he founded Stomp Out Suicide, the organization to which Dick decided to donate his tractor.
I gotta give you a hug, sir.
Oh, nice to see you again.
It's good to see you.
All these people ahead, look at that.
In its 6th year, much about the Stomp Out Suicide 5K
Way to finish strong.
has become familiar.
There's a clothesline there of people that have passed.
The tributes,
Timmy's on there.
the reminders that no one is on this journey alone. But amid the gift baskets and baseball tickets at this year's silent auction
Very nice.
stands a great-grandpa with a gift to his great-grandson wrapped in Ellis-Chalmers orange.
This is for Tim. Everybody line up. Remember Timmy.
Dick Colleen's final restoration is a tractor pulling heartstrings.
Thank you. I love you.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News,
This is for our Timmy.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
Give the guy on 101st Street credit for sticking to his story.
100 by 200 foot lot. No animals except Toby here.
If he's wearing those boots and that hat, then this, by gosh, is a ranch.
We call it a ranch.
A better word might be eclectic.
I got a fetish for outboard motors. The neighbors, all they did shake their head at me. Like, nothing surprises them anymore what I drag home.
Okay, maybe they were a little surprised
This is my shop right here.
when Mike Bray quit his job selling cars
Come on in.
and gave that hat and this ranch some authenticity.
When I told my boss I was gonna quit and do this here, he thought I was nuttier than a fruitcake.
Nearly 20 years have passed since this horseless cowboy drove a camper to Kansas to learn from a master leather artist.
I just knew he could do it.
Wren Bray supported her husband's pursuit of a crazy dream
This, I'm making a headdress.
that carried him from passion to profession.
The finished product is gonna be right here.
Artist,
Native American.
saddle maker,
Come up with this.
entrepreneur.
Barbed wire always sells. If something don't sell, throw barbed wire on it and it usually moves.
Just don't try to buy
The Marines.
this one.
This is a saddle I built in 2011. I call it the Tribute to the Troops. The waves,
A year and a half spent carving.
Rosie the Riveter,
Then Mike began carrying his saddle
In God We Trust,
to honor veterans at events near and far.
right here. Army Special Forces. Never kept track of my hours. I just look at it this way. It's nothing compared to what the hours our men and women are serving.
Then again, last year, inspiration struck.
This one is called Honor the Badge.
As Mike began work on a saddle to honor law enforcement officers, too.
My idea was to get police badges from all over the state.
Police, the military, and in between, a third saddle.
This one I call the Saddle of Hope.
Mike's tribute in leather to those who've battled cancer hit close to home after his neighbor Chloe Fruth, a champion barrel racer, was taken by cancer at 16.
So then I asked her mother what Chloe's favorite saying was, and she gave me that.
Crafting a single leather flower takes patience. Crafting more than 1,500 flowers for a single hope-filled saddle takes something deeper.
You asked which was my favorite. I think this one is here. Someone I love needs a cure.
I was diagnosed with colon cancer at the age of 42.
Wren's cancer was tough on Mike.
Just give me a minute.
It's the not knowing of if it's going to go away or not, or what's going to happen.
I'm supposed to be this big tough cowboy that cowboys don't cry.
But cowboys do, occasionally. Need some time alone beneath their cowboy hats.
Once you have it, that never goes away.
Now cancer-free, Wren too has her symbol on her husband's saddle of hope.
Yep, we survived.
The ranch that isn't. The horses that aren't. But what is true under that hat is the cowboy's heart. Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Monticello. Sometimes the exterior just suits what's inside.
This is my toolbox. It's usually with me.
True for the shuttered American can factory and for Dave Merritt.
Well, kind of.
For a story lives in the heart of the old brick building.
Yep, this is it.
And in the old farm kid, too.
If we go into a restaurant and you sit down at a table, one of the first things I do is I tend to look at the table and see how it's built.
Dave is a tool man. The kind of guy who's right at home at St. Paul's new tool library.
We've been open 6 weeks.
Pete Ho and the other founders
We were looking for tools.
figured to bring the library to life inside the old can factory might take a year's worth of tool donations.
And that air cleaner and this sander.
I'm still flabbergasted.
And the lay back there.
It took instead
And the small jigsaw there.
one
This one.
Dave.
This one, this one, this one. This one, that whole rack, every single one of them was mine.
He is sort of Santa Claus.
It just wasn't a fairy tale beginning.
It was a shock to us, when he died.
George Mary was Dave's 21-year-old brother,
He had a tumor on the very inside of his brain.
which leaves a void in a 15-year-old who's role model.
I thought a lot of George.
First fueled his tool passion,
It was really tough for me.
which is part of the reason Dave filled with tools his home of 46 years.
It just meant a lot to me to do something with wood and know that George would have done it too.
Also, part of the reason it was so difficult when the declining health of Dave's wife, Annette, made necessary the couple's move to assisted living with no space for Dave's tools.
My parents lost so much in the last year and a half that we just really didn't know how to help him lose this too.
The solution came literally from out of the woodwork.
This is his workshop now. This is his place to do his thing.
Doing it real lightly.
The tool library didn't just get Dave's tools. It got Dave.
See, that's almost perfect.
Almost every time we're open, Dave's here.
So how are you going to finish the material then?
That's Dave helping Joe Williams with his picture frame.
So you've got them up where you want them.
And Dave helping Allie Jones with her table.
Are you thinking of the shelf?
The same way George used to help his kid brother.
He would have loved it. I'm just sure of that.
The old factory, the library,
Yep.
the tool donation.
Yep.
All almost too good
Yep.
to be true.
It's really important to him, more than I ever knew.
So now you can feed him through here.
Dave's tools are now building his legacy.
One more little bit. It is his dream, and it's a dream he thought was dead, and now it's not.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, St. Paul. The spirit of Christmas emerges early from apartment 209. Just ask what kind of day Michael Gore expects.
A good day.
A good day, always, when Michael is headed to his favorite place. Not in the middle of a Mall of America Christmas, but making his own music at the edge.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Salvation Army bell ringing started on November 18th. Michael has not missed a day.
Nope.
6-day weeks, 10-hour days.
Not a single day.
Some 10,000 bell ringers cover Minnesota and North Dakota.
Jolly happy soul.
But not one of them puts in more hours than Michael.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, good morning.
Leah Okonwa is on the other end
Yes.
of Michael's 6 a.m. wake-ups.
He's all ready to go. He never wants to be late. The earlier the better for Michael.
Leah is Michael's personal care assistant, the one who brings him his water, because Michael refuses to take his breaks.
To give people Christmas is a gift.
To give people Christmas. That's what these dollars represent to Michael.
Thank you very much.
Born with cerebral palsy, legally blind, denied an education past 4th grade.
They didn't know how to teach me.
They didn't know how to teach him.
I just stayed home.
But Michael isn't staying home anymore.
Merry Christmas.
The Salvation Army mans its kettles 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Michael volunteers every single hour.
Thank you, Merry Christmas.
It blesses my heart.
Major Robert Dolliver tried to pull Michael away just an hour or so to be recognized at the Salvation Army employee Christmas party.
Yeah, he wouldn't leave.
I said, Mike, are you sure? Don't you really want to go?
I said, well, we've got a gift for you. You know, we present it to you. And he says, well, thank you, but I can't leave.
Notoriety is nice, but helping is better.
Notoriety is nice, but helping is better. Michael received his gifts of a scarf and a cap only when Major Dolliver hand-delivered them.
And he says, you know, this is the best Christmas present you could give me, was letting me ring.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Many of us have been abundantly blessed in career and family and love. But a 67-year-old who's lost most of his sight and not walked a day in his life is still beyond grateful.
Because I'm alive.
Alive, the only blessing Michael Gore needs.
Yes.
I'm gonna start crying.
Maybe the true meaning of Christmas is at the mall.
God bless you.
After all.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Mall of America. Opening round, Boys State High School basketball tournament. Of all days,
Just this morning, yeah.
for a twisted ankle under your star player. Drumsticks clutched in his free hand that earned that entourage that frequently accompanies Thomas Bidney.
1, 2, ready, and...
The rock star status afforded an 8-year-old when he's playing in the Jackson County Central High School Band.
Thomas is like a real inspiration to our whole school.
And why wouldn't he be? When the little drummer boy couldn't have started life much tinier.
The nurse looked at me and said, I think it's time to baptize him if that's what you want to do.
Too little blood flowing to Thomas's brain before he was born. Nearly a year in the hospital after.
How rough it was.
Thomas's parents knew their son
Here we go.
would face cognitive challenges.
Here we go.
School's tough.
Challenges his twin sister will never know. But then Thomas's parents started noticing this.
He has the beat. Yep, he knows the beat.
That's Thomas drumming the national anthem on the roof of his toy barn.
Until we got him a drum.
Fast forward to last Christmas morning.
At first we just thought he was playing, and all of a sudden I said, Mike, he's playing the school song.
Yep, that school song. Thomas was soon playing with the high school band after his mother emailed one of his videos to the band director.
I just said, hey, why don't you come join us?
Erica Colby thought Thomas might be up for the Husky school song. But no one expected him to learn the band's entire playlist.
I'm a freshman this year, so I didn't really know the songs that well. He starts playing all the songs perfect, and we all just kind of look at him like, really?
The same schoolwork that's so hard for Thomas comes as easy to his twin sister Julia as a sip on that cool drink. But Julia can't do this.
I always wanted him to have something that was his, that he was good at, no matter what it was. Here we go.
that he could just kind of fit in and be part of something, and I think the band is it.
To think how their son's life started.
It makes you feel good.
To think where he's standing today.
Oh, yeah.
Sprained ankle and all. Thomas Bidney is beating expectations. Boy Duper. KARE 11 News.